Hello, I'm Oral, and welcome to Speaking of Everything. I got a surprise for you, a real good surprise. Been here many years ago. He's back here. He's a son of the soil. It's Mr. Gregory Richardson. He's a vice president at Blackberry, and he's the author of his new book, 6 Technology Levels, right? Levelers.
Yep.
Right. I'm saying levelers. Honored to have you, man. How are you doing?
Pleasure to be here. Honored to be here. Indeed, it was probably more than 20 years since you actually interviewed me, probably for a completely different subject. Glad to see you still doing this and growing and radio, etc., etc. And very genuinely, it's an honor to be here, Mr. Gibbs. Very genuinely.
No,
Thank you.
You are an amazing young man. You come from a very beautiful, intelligent family. Your sister, your father, your mother. You know, it's amazing because not many people have that privilege like you to have a father that is so intelligent and he's still sharp at 80 years old.
Yep. I often joke that I sometimes have wish, not really true, wish he would forget some of the mistakes I made because he remembers everything. Sharp as a tack. Mother also, I would suggest my mother is even younger than him, even though she's a year older than him. Both of them doing very good. I definitely consider myself blessed to have both parents still in my life here to guide me and to hit me a map up the back of my head when needed, and both of them absolutely still do that. So I see that I'm blessed, and I'm very honored for that.
That's good. You know, we don't see many St. Martiners succeed in the technology world. You've gone to the States. You're vice president at Blackberry. You travel the world. You have your book out, 6 Technology Levelers. How you feel when people ask you where you're from and what their reaction?
The reaction is usually, huh? You from St. Martin, the little small island with the planes that is take off and blow people? But I say, yep, that's exactly where I'm from. I'm very proud of it that, I'm from St. Martin and I've quote unquote done good. I'm very quick to say though, and I don't mean to get preachy. I'm very quick to say, I followed my passion. I wish I could say, I had this big grand scheme and this plan that I laid out. But if I'm being transparent and I'm being honest, I can genuinely 100% say this was all God plan. I stuck with a field that when I got into it, cybersecurity, it was not a good field. It was a bad field to be in. Wasn't no money in it. People didn't care about cybersecurity. There was no jobs, nothing. I only stuck with it because I liked it and I felt something inside of me saying, stick with this thing, boy. So when the opportunity came, because bad things started happening, big companies started getting hacked, suddenly I'm there with a lot of expertise, and I fell into something that I didn't plan for it. It's the same thing with the AI world. In cybersecurity, weather, and finances. They were 3 of the big industries that, 35 years ago started heavily using started heavily using artificial intelligence. Because I happened to be in cybersecurity, I was exposed to AI, very deep, very technical, very hands-on, 20 years ago, working for very large cybersecurity companies in the States. So 2-3 years ago, when ChatGPT came about, and suddenly we see what I call the democratization or the socialization of AI, where now it's not just the big companies. Anybody with a $20 could go on ChatGPT, and now you're doing AI. I saw an opportunity there, and I said, these people that are going to use AI can probably use a lot of the expertise that I've gained from 20 years working with it. So that's why I wrote the book, and that's why I do a lot of help to governments, large organizations. I help a lot of very small nonprofits, schools, churches, etc. as well, because everybody is seeing this AI thing can be a significant benefit to businesses, to whatever it is you're doing, to your job, your teacher, your producer, whatever it is, AI can help you. So I try to help those people who will inevitably want to use this tool to make themselves be more successful or be more productive, basically.
This is the front page of your book, 6 Technology Levers, Oh, tell me about that. How you came up with that?
That was another God thing, to be again completely transparent. As we talk, you'll hear that come up a lot more. I give God all the credit in my life. My temperament as I've gotten older, I'm nearly 60 years old now. As I've gotten older, my temperament I think I've grown and matured somewhat, and I feel like I'm more aware of my own fallibility, my own ability to make mistakes and to screw up. Because when I look back, I could see million places where I made mistakes, and I realized if it were not for God giving me another chance and preventing that mistake from ending me, I wouldn't have been here at all. So I'm very quick to give God the credit for that. To go back to the book, about 2 years ago around Christmas, I was getting knee surgery. Getting old. Doctor said, dude, your knee falling apart, you need a new knee. So he said, what that means is you're going to be home, you're going to be in bed, you can't travel, you can't do anything. My typical business life is I travel someplace, usually 2 or 3 places every single week.
Wow, that's a lot.
And I've been doing that for 10, 15 years, easy. American Airlines knows me by my first name. I get the jet sent from Nissan, literally. You're coming to Tokyo. We need you to speak to the CEO. I was flown to Dubai in a suite, one of those flying airline suites, because the president of the United Arab Emirates wanted to have a meeting with me to talk about security and this and that and the other. That's my life. That's literally what I do every single week of the year. So it was very unusual when doctor said, you ain't going nowhere. You're going to be home for 6 weeks, lie down in your bed. You won't be able to walk. You're going to need to do therapy to get back up. So I was like, all right, let me just use this time. And God said, now that you're sitting down quiet and you ain't moving around for a minute, you're going to write a book what I've had in your mind all the time. And I've had the idea for the book for years, but I never had the time to write it. So literally, while sitting in bed, on sick leave, so to speak, it took about, being very genuine, it took about a week and a half, 2 weeks to write the book, and wrote the whole entire book just typing on my laptop. And then I got an idea one Sunday morning. I heard a voice say, change it and make this framework, use create. And I didn't even get to create. I had the name of the book, 6 Technology Levers, from a long time ago. I didn't even know what the 6 levers were. I just liked the 6 and the levers. It sounded catchy. I had a guy design the cover for me. And then when I realized what create was, create is 6 letters, and that was the framework that centers the book. I had already written the book. I rewrote the whole middle of the book in one afternoon, 8 chapters. In one afternoon, I rewrote it to align to the create framework, which is, when you read the book, you'll see it's, find your customer, do the research, evaluate the technology, assemble the technology toolbox, test and evaluate, and then expand. That's the whole framework of, hey, when you want to do a project with AI, this is the approach you should take. And that was it. And then I published it. It became a bestseller. It was an Amazon bestseller in their technology and business innovation space. It did very well. It continues to do very, very, very well. It sparked me going all over the globe teaching classes. I'm actually teaching a class. By the time you see this, it will be finished already, but we're doing a class here in St. Martin. It's called the AI Weekend Retreat. We have people flying in from all over the place. And it's primarily aimed at the local market. So I was fortunate enough to get a very, very gracious law firm here in the island sponsored a bunch of teachers to come to the class. And I also got a donor who wants to remain silent from the US. They also said, hey, you're going to the Caribbean, you're going to help these teachers. This is a good idea. They sponsored. So we got probably about 15 teachers and educators and school administrators and some government employees and stuff. And they're all coming, not quite free, but they're coming significantly discounted, $50, $100, $200, etc.
But normally it's a lot more money.
It's something that we pay for. You get the book, you get workbooks, you get workflows, you get AI automations that you can use immediately, like the day after you can go to use it. It has a VIP dinner. So we're doing one of those classes in St. Martin, and I'm again just glad to be able to help and give back to the community that basically helped create me and form me into what I am today. So that's kind of the long and the short of what it feels like to come from a tiny little island that nobody has usually nobody can usually find on a map. They've heard of it, but they don't know where it is on the map. And, just be able to now be all over the globe, and having people ask you, but where you come from? You have a strange work ethic. You don't get tired. Everybody, after the work, they go to the little work dinner, and, they like to have fun and party. You never there. You just leave and sit. You're going back to the hotel room to do more work. Where you from? Where you get out from? It was like, if you meet my mother and my father, you will understand. My mother worked like a slave, I shouldn't say like a slave. She was well paid, as in the clinic, and to this day, people still refer to her as Nurse Richardson, Nurse C, this and that. People who she gave an injection to 20 years ago still remember her. My father, same thing with the union and with government and being a commissioner, etc. People know him for this man. He's a bust his tail and work for the people. So I think I caught that same bug.
Exactly.
I'm honored that I get to do something I like doing, so I'm gonna do it.
Right. In case you've just joined us, I'm Earl Gibbs here, and speaking about thing, my guest on the program is Mr. Gregory Richardson. Mr. Richardson is a son of the soil. He's from St. Martin. He's vice president at Blackberry. It's an honor to have him here on the show. He's the author of his new book, 6 Technology Levers, and we're just honored to have him here on the program. When you look at all the things you just said, what you're doing, ever in your wildest dreams thought you'll be here today after you left St. Martin?
No.
To the U.S.?
No. I'll be super transparent now. I kind of left a little bit.
You weren't too happy when you left.
Right. I was not happy at all when I left. I didn't want to leave. That was the first part of it. Most people don't know this. My wife might kill me for sharing this. And yes, I'm still married to the same woman from St. Martin. We left there together. Love her very much, Laura. When we started dating, she said, we're not going to live here, right? And I said, how you mean? She said, I feel like we need to go and live somewhere else. We need to go and branch out somewhere bigger, give our daughter the opportunities that we didn't have here. If she wants to dance or run or jump or whatever it is she wants to do, I want to put her in an environment where I say, well, I told her this verbatim. We doing good here in St. Martin. I verbatim said this. I don't need no American dream. I good. And she said, give me, she said, I'll give you some amount of years. I can't remember, probably about 10 years. And then you start thinking about it because we have to go. And she kept me to it. And 10 years down the road was right around, when St. Martin was changing status and stuff. And I said, well, I made a commitment to you and it's been that amount of time. So, hey, let's go. But I was not happy. So I was not happy to be going, but simultaneously, I was very aware that, and please nobody take this the wrong way, that a lot of opportunities that should have come to myself as a young, local, smart St. Martiner were being prevented or held back, or for whatever reason I couldn't get to them, oftentimes because the older generation would hold on to things, the people in power would hold on to things and just, no, you too young, you too, you shut up and stay over there in the corner. And when I moved to the States, I very quickly realized that attitude is not there. In the States, oh, you want to work? Oh, we're going to give you work, boss. You want to climb up and lead, grow and lead here, take all the work you could do. And I very quickly realized that attitude, just the mental paradigm is very different, where whatever you want to do, whatever you want to be open to, if it involves hard work, they're going to give you the chance. They don't care about where you come from, how you look. There's a little bit in certain places, the color of your skin, but really and truly, even that, you can override the color of your skin if you work hard enough.
If you're good. Yeah,
if you're good. They don't care. Okay, yeah, he black, he don't look like multiple rooms I walked into with CEOs and bank chairmen and presidents of big corporations, GM, GE, Ford Motor, Equifax, etc., where I am the only person who looks like me in the room. I'm the only person who sounds like me with my little Caribbean accent in the room. but I am the person that they brought there because they feel like I could solve the problem for them. I had a boss, he was the CEO of McAfee years ago, African-American gentleman. His name is Chris Young. You could look him up. Very, 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 very intelligent guy. He was put on North America's Cybersecurity Commission by President Obama. So he controlled cybersecurity for the whole country. He was my mentor, still is. We still remain in contact. And he told me, Greg, you think you're technically smart. I got news for you. The fact that you are technically smart is the smallest part of it. He said, Greg, you are the guy that I could send in front of any CEO who is not technically smart. They might be billionaires. They might be business smart, but they don't know technology. You are the one person that I could send that can translate from technology to whatever language they speak in. If they speak in finance, you could bridge the gap. If they speak in business, MBA stuff, you could bridge the gap.
Important.
And he said, that's your skill. You think it was technical. It wasn't that. And I leaned into that. And I was given that opportunity. And that is, I would never have expected that. And that started making me a little bit bitter. And I'm not bitter at all anymore. But that started making me bitter. Like, why wasn't I given this opportunity back home? Which is why now I'm extremely grateful that, again, God, full circle, I'm given the opportunity to come back here and help some teachers and potentially help our government. I'm going to be speaking to the Central Committee of Parliament about AI and their digital government initiatives. I'm grateful that I'm in a position to where, maybe I can still help and still contribute to the country that is my home country that I love. I don't have no other home country. I mean, this is it for me.
But would you say maybe God works in mysterious ways because it's full circle? You're back now.
Yep.
And now Simradin needs you more than ever. And I hope that you'll be coming back often and they'll pay you what you value is also, because that's another issue on this island.
Yeah.
We are quick to pay everyone except our own. But I hope that it works out well for you in that.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. That is one of the, I've had these conversations a lot. That's one of the unfortunate sides. Colonialism has some great side effects. It's nothing is all good or all bad.
Right.
Colonialism has some great side effects. It allows nations to be safe. Small countries that couldn't otherwise defend themselves, couldn't otherwise have a country identity like the Dutch passport, the EU passport that we have, et cetera, et cetera. It allows you to get access to that relatively easily. When Montserrat, for example, had their volcano and things changed, a large part of their population could just snap and go to the UK and be welcomed there. So colonialism has its benefits. One of the negative aspects of colonialism is you grow up in this environment where the people over you never look like you. So our first generations of governors, teachers, judges, doctors, I appreciate all of them. My mother worked for a doctor that didn't look like her. And he was a phenomenal gentleman. He took care of me and my family when we were sick, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I have no beef with the people, but it causes us here locally to build a little click in our head where we feel like if it doesn't look different than us, it can be better than us. It can be, we can't reach out to them for help. The person has to look different. And we need to overcome that as a society. We need to feel comfortable that, hey, Oral looks exactly like me, but this guy has been in this industry for decades now. This is the expert. I don't need to go and talk to no other expert. This man has a proven track record. What I want to talk about publishing, radio. I should talk to Oral. I don't need a guy to come from somewhere else that look different than me and have a different accent than me. But that takes time. That, like I said, is a side effect of a colonial environment where that's the nature of the colonial environment.
All right, in case you've joined us, I'm Ochi here with Mr. Gregory Richardson. He's author. He's also vice president at Blackberry. When we come back, you're seeing him right there. We're going to speak with him more about his book right here on Speaking of Everything. Please stay with us.
We are vibrant, expressive, warm, and diverse. Together, we conquer, and now we expand into new horizons, giving you more of the best. Introducing our new Banco Matico Plus with wider acceptance, purchase protection, and enhanced security. Whether you're online, traveling, or in paradise, experience more with Windward Island Bank. Banco Matico Plus. More of the best.
My guest here on Speaking of Everything is Mr. Gregory Richardson. He's a vice president at Blackberry and also an author. It's amazing. When you came in, you told me about Blackberry. Do you remember what I told you?
Their phones, they were so great. Their phones, yep.
The best, most secure phone. And it's amazing how technology also changes things. And now with your book and AI, what do you think people in Simradin should need to know about AI that they don't know?
I'll give you two things. One, don't be afraid of it. AI it's not the first time in history we in the Caribbean have dealt with this, or globally we've dealt with this. The printing press was similar. When the printing press came out in the 1400s, 1300s, everybody was afraid of it. Everybody said it was evil. They said it was the mark of the beast. It's going to cause lies to be spread. Like, for real, that was really what they said. Then somebody printed the Bible with it and, changed everything, and suddenly literacy rates go through the roof and everything changes. And oh my God, this is a great invention. The Caribbean navigated this with the internet. When I still lived here 20 years ago, everybody was wrangling with, do we build what were they called? Duty-free zones. Curacao had one. They were talking about putting one here and allowing foreign companies to come in and put internet presence. Is it going to hurt the market? And everybody was wrangling with that. How do we manage this incoming change, this wave of the internet with globalization where everybody's connected to everybody? Yeah. It's the same thing that we're experiencing now with AI. I will suggest to you, though, AI is bigger. AI is more impactful because it stretches across multiple areas. So it touches media, it touches desktop publishing, it touches graphics, it touches financial projections. Like any industry that you can imagine can benefit or can be impacted, and in my opinion, usually in a positive way, 9 times out of 10 in a positive way, by AI. So that's the change that we're doing that I want you to know, don't be afraid of. We've been here before. We'll navigate it just fine as a region and as an island. The opportunity is where it is significant. A group of CEOs in the U.S., they've publicly stated this. Sam Altman is one of them. There's probably about 6 or 7.
He's the most well-known, right?
Right, exactly. He did ChatGPT. He was the founder of the company ChatGPT. He didn't create it. He had programmers that created it. But he's super smart himself. Him and about 6 other of his CEO friends say all the time, for the last 2 years, they have a group chat going. It's on SMS, whatever. They're just talking with each other. And they are betting now internally, the 6 of them amongst each other, on when we will see the first single person billion with a B dollar company. 5 years ago, that would have been unheard of. You want a $1 billion company, you need to grow a company, you need to get hundreds of staff, you need to have managers and departments. Because of AI, it is very genuine now.
Don't talk individual.
That one individual, because of AI might be helping them with their marketing. It might be helping them with their video editing. It might be helping them with their copywriting. It will be helping them with their distribution of their content. And instead of having 10 people doing that, you got one person doing it now. And that one person can scale to a level to where his revenue is going to reach $1 billion. That's an opportunity.
That's going to happen.
And that's a game changer for the Caribbean, because in the Caribbean, due to size, a lot of us have small one-person companies. And whatever your niche is now, know that you have the opportunity to be that single-person $1 billion company. For that reason alone, you need to get into it, and you need to lean into it and say, listen, how can I have this thing help me do the tasks, or help me do the tasks that are not my expertise? So I could focus in on my expertise, and then the other aspects, the distribution, the sales, the marketing, the customer service, the staying in touch with my customers, etc. I could have AI help me with that and be the buffer zone. So now I'm focusing on what I'm the best at, and that helps me grow. And I'm not just speaking from a place of, this is some theory. I live in this. About this point, it's probably about 3.5, 4 years. It was before I wrote the book. I was on a vacation with my wife, some friends, my daughter, and her friends. And we were on a cruise. And for everybody, and it was a Caribbean cruise, Western Caribbean, so places like Jamaica and Mexico and stuff. Anybody ever been on a cruise? You know, it's small, it's cramped up. So my daughters were constantly in my skin. Daddy, we need this, we need that, blah, blah, blah. I decided it was a 7-day cruise. 5 of the days we were out on the ocean, I decided I'm going to use that time to see if I could build an app, because I had an idea for an app. And again, my genius wife kept telling me for a year before this, you need to turn that thing that you keep talking about into an app. I sat on the cruise, and in 5 days, and I'm not a programmer. The last time I programmed, this will be funny for the St. Martin audience, the last time I programmed was probably in the 90s.
You got some knowledge of coding for sure.
I do, but it's changed so much. That knowledge is useless. I was working for Nagico, literally, the last time I coded. Kudos to Mr. Maxud, who got me started on coding, but I realized team for me, so I came out of coding immediately. And other than that, I've never coded. In 5 days, I built an app that does meeting transcription and a couple of other things using AI. I launched it. That app is running today, still 3 years later. It's growing, has hundreds, if not thousands of customers. The customers are happy. It prints money for me.
Yeah, well, that's
me
good.
by myself. I don't have no employees. It just sits there and it works. And the first chapter in the book is the story of how I built that.
How you built the
and
app.
based on how I built that and how I scaled that and how 3 years later that is still running with 0 employees other than me while I have a job and I'm out traveling all over the place doing stuff. That's the ability that you have, and the roadmap for how I built that and how I scaled it and what I used AI for and what I didn't use AI for. That's what's in the book, and that's the opportunity. So again, I'm not speaking from a position of, hey, this is a theory out of a book. I actually did this. I can validate it.
Can you imagine before that how difficult it was to make an app?
Yep.
You had to go to...
You need to pay people tens of thousands of dollars. It would take months. Even something as rudimentary as a website. Pretty much every business nowadays should have a website. So you have global reach so people can find out who you are and what you offer. Because if they don't know what you offer, they can't pay you for it. They can't ask you to do it for them. A website, back in the day, I used to make websites here. Websites cost thousands of dollars. You'd have to charge people thousands of dollars. You come back, they tell you what they want, you describe it, you build it, it doesn't quite look like what they want, and you back and forth. Now with AI, you can literally, there are AI tools, you can literally sit in English and say, I like the colors blue, yellow, red, orange. Here is my logo. This is what my company does. Make me a website.
And if you don't have a logo, they create one for you too.
Exactly. You don't have a logo. You know what? I'm looking to make a logo for production house. I'm in the Caribbean. Include the sun and include ocean because I'm Caribbean based. Use bright colors and make sure they're suitable colors for professionalism. And make me a logo. Boop. Make it 10 logo drafts. I like this one. Change this. Make the text so boop. And now you got your logo in 15 minutes. No graphic artist you had to pay. And it's not about the graphics artists losing their job. That's not the point, because the graphics artists will always be around. My book cover was designed by a graphics artist. I gave him some colors and stuff that I liked, and I said, now I need you to make it professional for me and put it in the right format so I can give it to the publisher and so that they could publish it. And the graphics artist did that, and I had to pay him for that. But I saved the back and forth because I was able to give him a very good draft of more or less, this is what I'm looking for. So that's what you use AI for. That's not my expertise. I'm not a creative person in that regard. So I was able to have AI help me with that. With marketing, with telling people that I had a book out, AI was able to help me with that because I'm not good at marketing. I'm good at locking myself in a corner and working on a computer and knocking out some tech stuff. That's what I like doing. That's what I was doing last night in my hotel room. Sunday I went to visit my mother and my father, kissed them, this and that. Where you going, Greg? I'm going to the hotel. I go sit down quiet, turn on the TV, and I was there. That's what I like to do. Marketing, I don't like to do. Interviews, you might think, oh, this guy could talk. I'm nervous as a Billy Goat here right now. This is not what I'm good at. I'm doing it because I need to do it, and I respect Mr. Gibbs. But you can off-source the things that you are not necessarily the strongest at, and have AI help you with them.
Does it very quickly.
Yeah, super quickly. Yeah. Design a website super quickly. Design a newsletter super quickly. Certain things it does really, really, really well. Text analysis, text generation, text summarization.
That's crucial.
Does that very, 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 very well.
Many media houses now are using that, and they don't have to employ anyone.
Yep.
At the same time, though, a lot of people worry. For example, last night I was watching a show and some coders were complaining that they're losing their jobs to AI. For people who don't understand, why is it, make it very simple for my audience, please. Why is it that coders are complaining that they're losing their jobs to AI?
Only the lowest tier, the tier that's the easiest for you to get into in pretty much any space. The top-notch producers, not going to lose their jobs. The top-notch investigative reporters who actually go out on the road and do the investigation and harass the government and answer this for me and blah, blah, and find it out, never going to lose their jobs because AI can't do that. The bottom tier, that's just, hey, I take this topic, AI, and write an article about it, that's the ones that will lose their job. So how do you avoid that? Upscale yourself. Make sure you're not at the bottom tier. Become an expert and top tier in the space that you're in. You're into programming? Trust me, all of those guys that programming Teslas and making new computer chips to drive the AI, their jobs ain't going nowhere. It's the base level guys who just came out of high school or college and has a basic understanding of coding and they never moved from there. Yeah, that level is more than likely going to be impacted, but it's up to them to upscale themselves.
Now, do you get people asking you, Mr. Richardson, AI, artificial intelligence, in one sense, what really is that? Because artificial is not real, right?
Correct.
And then intelligence. So you put them together, some people have a little...
It's a bit of an oxymoron almost. It's a bit of an oxymoron. And it's actually good. And I lean into that heavily when I teach and in the book as well.
Okay.
Understand that artificial intelligence is just that. It is artificial and it is also artificially intelligent. In other words, it's not really intelligent. It's pretending to be intelligent. It is 100% limited by what you feed it. I'll give you a simple example of this. It's a Bible example because it's one that comes to mind. I like the Bible. I went to Sunday school, Praise Tabernacle Church, the whole kit and caboodle. Most of my life going to church here. You're growing up here. In the US, I still go to church. So when ChatGPT came out, I asked it a biblical question that I considered a Sunday school question. Something along the lines of, where in the Bible is 666? Where in the Old Testament? I was trying to be tricky with it. ChatGPT answered back, in the Old Testament, 666 is in Revelations. Anybody who went to Bible school or Sunday school as a child knows Revelation is in the New Testament, not the Old Testament. So ChatGPT was wrong. So I very quickly realized this thing is good at writing a sentence that reads properly, but the information in the sentence might be completely, totally wrong. So you now have to give it the data that you wanted to look at. So what I realized was, and there's books written on this called context engineering, you have to give the AI, for example, if I want to ask it a question about a book or a Bible or a meeting I had, what I go in every meeting that I go in now, I have my little phone right down with my app running on it, and it records the meeting, so every word that's being said, and it take that recording, transcribe it, and I give that to AI.
Wow.
So now AI has the context of every word that was said. It could be 20 pages long.
Yeah.
And then I can say, based on this context, go and read it and tell me what's my to-do list. What did I say in that meeting? That I'm going to give you this, I'll send you a quotation, I'll send my engineers, and AI is very good at that, boom. Had I not given it that context, and I said, listen, whatever you know about meetings, just tell me what I should go and do, it will make up gibberish, and the gibberish might read right nice, but might be completely wrong. So that's where it's faking it. They understood quickly with the onset of ChatGPT. Humans want something that appears human to them, hence artificial intelligence. So the focus and the programming bias of the AI is to respond quickly, because humans are accustomed to, hey OJ, how you doing? Good. You don't sit down, hey OJ, how you doing? And then say good. The answer is instantaneous. Right. So to mimic a human reaction, they want the AI to answer very quickly. If the answer is wrong, it's wrong. That's why every AI, if you look at the bottom in fine print, it says these answers could be wrong. They're warning you in advance. Don't trust this for nothing. But it feels human.
But AI cannot give you an answer if they can't find that information on the web, right?
Correct. And what it will do is it won't quickly tell you, I don't know. So when it can't find the answer, the answer isn't in its training database, it's going to make up something for you. Like my question about the Bible, where it just made up and said, yeah, Revelation is in the Old Testament and it's in Revelation chapter 12. Yeah, Revelation is not in the Old Testament. It's not in, you're wrong. It's actually in First Kings. Oh, my bad. But if you don't know that,
right,
it's going to answer you and you'll run with it and believe it's the truth. What a lot of people started noticing is if you ask it about books, it's going to make up quotations for you. Yeah, in this book, page so-and-so, chapter so-and-so, it says this and this and this. And if you put that in like your little school paper or your essay that you're writing, your professor is going to go and review it and say, this book don't have that chapter on this page or that quote in the book.
Yeah.
But the AI made it up for you because it couldn't find it, so it gave you something.
You know what's amazing? Someone sent me a proposal. And they did not review their proposal. They had sent that same proposal to another company.
All the same
in the same
names.
basis as me.
Yep.
Everything was there. I didn't work with that person after that.
Exactly. So one of the things we teach with when we're building automations and stuff, because we build automations for companies. That's why I'm actually here now. I'm also talking to a couple of the local companies that want to use AI, and we're hopefully getting the opportunity
You can
to
build
help
all of
them.
that?
Oh yeah, we do the building of it ourselves as well. Most of the things we build, we include what's called HITM, human in the middle. So it will do it. The AI will do is generate. AI will go out and collect its context. It'll build a little prompt for you. It'll summarize it. It'll send it to you. And then it sends it to a human, you or whoever, for you to review it, read over it quickly, say, yep, this looks good, click approve. Because it's not designed to be trusted to just soup the nuts. You start from nothing and do everything and then send it out. Guaranteed way to find yourself in trouble. One other thing I would be remiss not to mention. There is a common misconception that AI is connected to the internet and just constantly going out there, scoring, learning. That's not true. AI, and you can read about this, like ChatGPTs and Claudes and them, they announce every time they make a new model. They make a new model around every 6 months. When that model comes out, they tell you, if you look in the fine print, the training data for this model ended September of 2024, usually a year before. So anything from that date that you ask it, it doesn't know at all. It will probably be making it up. So again, if you wanted to do something, it's your job to give it the context. A lot of times the prompt that I give my AI might be a whole chapter from a book. I'm reading a book on whatever, AI or technology, whatever, and I want to, get 12 questions from this to put in a class. I got to copy and paste the whole chapter of the book and say, I like this book. I read this book. There's about 12 good points in here. Look at here. You find the 12 good points for me and then make 12 quiz questions because I'm going to ask my students this in a class and I'm going to make them read this book first. That's a good thing. But just telling it, you ever heard of this book, make me 12 questions, it's going to make you gibberish questions.
Hey, Mr. Richardson, man, I'm enjoying it. Can we go another 10, 15 minutes if you don't mind?
100%.
All right, in case you've just joined us, I'm Oral Gibbs here with Mr. Gregory Richardson. He's author and vice president at Blackberry. When we come back, we're going to continue with him for another 10, 15 minutes right here. And speaking of everything, please do this.
We are vibrant, expressive, warm, and diverse. Together, we conquer, and now we expand into new horizons, giving you more of the best. Introducing our new Bankomatico Plus with wider acceptance, purchase protection, and enhanced security. Whether you're online, traveling, or in paradise, experience more with Windward Island Bank. Bankomatico Plus. More of the best.
My guest with me here on Speaking of Everything is Mr. Gregory Richardson. Mr. Richardson is author, vice president at Blackberry, and he travels the world speaking and giving information to all kinds of people, billionaires, millionaires, and even to little guys like us and say about it.
100%.
So, you said a lot, and everybody's fascinated by artificial intelligence. Your book here is out, the 6 technology levels of artificial intelligence. Where do you see us as a small island down the road in terms of using artificial intelligence for our benefit?
It
Is
is.
too much I'm asking there?
No. That's a phenomenal question. It is the great equalizer, the great leveler. Because with a tool like AI in your back pocket, whether you are government and you want to increase the level of, like, let's say, for example, transparency. It is very normal now in big and small countries, and I've helped governments with this, so I'm speaking from my knowledge here. I'm not just guessing. Governments, big and small, are very leaning into being more transparent with their population. Every law that's passed or every law we're working on, you see it. Every license that's granted, you see it. So it kills a lot of the, so-and-so and Baboche get a license because he's friends with so-and-so. And it kills a lot of that because you will see it and everybody will see it and it's public.
Right.
So that's good and that's fair. AI allows the smallest of governments to process big volumes of information because governments process a lot of information, requests and census and this and that and the other in a secure manner and publicize the parts of it that needs to be publicized. So even small countries now have the opportunity to do there. For businesses, whether you're a school teacher, whether you have a fruit stand, a provision stand, whether you have a little small neighborhood bakery, whatever it is you're doing,
help anyone then.
It can help anybody take all of the data they have. Like I gave the use case already about, like, every meeting I'm in, I record it and I hand it to AI. Every time I speak, like this thing, when you broadcast it, I'm going to get the recording of it, whether it's YouTube or wherever, I'm going to give it to my AI. So my AI is learning what I talk like.
But people ask you how they get that technology that you have.
Yeah, there's multiple places you can buy it. There's Otter AI, there's ActorScribe. ActorScribe is my app. I don't even want to make it a commercial for my app.
No, but you tell us about it because I think people need to know.
Yeah.
And if you're doing that, it's important.
ActorScribe that's my app that I built. That's the app that I use for transcribing all of my meetings. Literally any meeting I'm in with 10 people, one person, whatever. It's dropped into there. It's secure. It hides it. It doesn't train it. It doesn't give it to the AI. It just tells the AI, transcribe every word that was said, categorize it, give me a summary of it, give me all the references that were used, give me any action items that I need to follow up coming out to that. So when I come to a meeting with a customer and we talk for 2 hours and I got a list of things that I said, I wasn't there writing notes. They weren't there writing notes. By the time I'm in the car, leaving them going either back to the hotel, I can email my team and here 10 engineers, here's your to-do list. The customer is expecting this. Accounting department, make these 3 invoices and send them this. Billing department, collect this from... Everybody gets their notes one time without me having to sit. So that's something useful for you. As a small business person, you can train the AI on how you speak every time you speak publicly. If you're a pastor, you're a teacher, you can train the AI on these are the kind of lessons I give. So the next time you come to the AI and you say, hey, I need to now write a lesson on this material, it can help you write the lesson that still has your tone of voice in it. Whereas you writing a lesson or a sermon or a speech or a presentation for work may have taken you weeks previously. Now you have the ability to get it done in an hour. And that's the multiplier. That's the opportunity for all businesses, big and small.
And local people can subscribe to the app?
Yes. ActorScribe, you can subscribe to it from anywhere. I have subscribers throughout the Caribbean and the rest of the world. Just go to the website, ActorScribe, A-C-T-A, Scribe, SCRIBE.ai. Interesting side note on the .ai. Anybody realize that all the popular websites now are not .com, but they're .ai?
Anguilla's
That's Anguilla.
Yeah.
Anguilla spun up
They're making
a
millions
whole
over that.
nother industry off of .ai. When I realized that the first time I bought an AI, I said, this thing is coming from Anguilla. And I said, these people smart like I don't know what. And kudos to them for, again, right place, right time. But, that's another reason for you to go out and build a website and call it .ai. You're supporting your sister country next door.
Oh, definitely. When you look at all of this, things are happening so rapidly. And when you walked in, you said to me, oh, small cameras look great. And I said to you, these cameras are not as expensive as the ones I had before.
And physically smaller.
And smaller. The big ones couldn't fit in. So everything is getting smaller and smaller. I have huge cabinets with tapes. Now everything's on a small little device like this.
Yep.
where are we going to end? I mean, it's amazing what technology is doing, how fast things are happening. But at the same time, and I want your opinion on this, it seems that there is a group of people that isn't prepared or doesn't realize what's happening in technology, and they're going to be left behind.
Inevitably, and that always happens. That's not a St. Martin problem. That's not a small island problem. That's a global problem. Across the world, when I talk to companies, big and small, there are always a little subset that are not ready. They don't realize the change, the big wave. If you ever go mullet bin swim, sometimes you get double up. They don't see the big wave that's about to double them up, usually until it's too late.
It's also fair, right?
It's also fair sometimes, but mostly in my experience, it ain't even fair because it just didn't see it. A famous example everybody gives. Blockbuster used to have multiple of them here. You know, they had videos and cassette tapes, and it was brilliant. And Netflix was start up, and they were doing terrible. So Netflix was on their last leg, and they went to Blockbuster. They had a big meeting. They said, listen, we got this idea with Netflix, and we could stream things. And right now, we sending the DVDs out via the mail, blah, 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 blah. And buy us for $50 million. Blockbuster, $50 million. For Blockbuster, who was worth billions at that time, that was pocket change. Blockbuster laughed them out of the room. Because Blockbuster did not even see the wave of how the internet was changing and how the changes in the internet would change the ability to where you don't even need to come for a tape no more. You don't even need to get a DVD no more. You just stream it over the internet now. They didn't see that coming, so they missed the whole entire boat. Don't let that happen to you with AI. I'm telling you right now, the wave ain't really coming. The wave kind of done here already. Yeah. Either jump, you know, if you go to the beach, you jump up like that so you don't get double up, or do something, because if you just pop a show around, you're going to get double up.
And you know, you mentioned Netflix, and all of the big companies at the time, they weren't streaming.
Correct.
No,
everybody wants to stream. NBC, ABC, CBS, all of them laughed at Netflix. You crazy. People ain't going to be streaming. The quality ain't good enough, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And I don't know the story behind this. I'm not even sure if Netflix knew that bandwidth and quality was going to be increasing so much. I think they rolled the dice and try a thing. Yeah. And they get lucky that, oh my God, suddenly bandwidth is increasing everywhere. Even here in St. Martin, you can get megabits now, and etc. So even here, you can stream YouTube at 10. Yeah. I was just streaming YouTube last night in my hotel room. Internet ain't that great, Smithcom's connection. It's not bad, but it's not like what I get in the States. But I was getting 4K video on YouTube, no problem whatsoever. So it's anywhere in the world you can get this now. It's the same thing with AI. Expect that anything you're doing now, pretty much anything, especially the menial, easy to do tasks, start thinking about how can I automate this? How can I have AI just take a small part of it, do it more efficiently, more effectively for me, and you always want to look at, not is it making it easier, or is it going to take somebody out of a job? That's not the aim. The aim is not to cut costs. Yeah. The aim is, can I get this thing to do something for me that will grow my business? Businesses don't do good because they only cut costs. Businesses are measured on how they grow. Right. So if you have a business like your business, you know, producing content and putting it out there, the focus is not, can AI cut an editor from a job? The focus is going to be, can AI help me get my content out to people who never heard of Oral Gibbs? Districts and regions and markets that don't know Oral, can AI help me put my shows in front of their eyeballs so that in Saudi Arabia and Japan and China and Australia and Canada, they're also watching Oral? And that's the growth, because now your eyes grow up, the value of your content grows up, your monetization grows up. That is what makes it profitable. And that's the angle that I would suggest anyone that it does something or has something of value, look at it from that angle. How can this thing take what I have and make it bigger, share it with more people, have more people come to it? If there's one thing I've learned in doing business and being in the States, there's a market for practically everything. I have a YouTube channel. I'm not going to say the name of it because I don't want to advertise. I have a
You can
YouTube
say
channel
the channel.
where all I talk about is technology and the Bible.
But tell us about it.
It's Bible hacking. It's called Bible hacking. Small little channel. It's nothing huge. Doesn't make me no money. But I like to talk about Bible and technology.
Right.
I thought that was just a weird, nerdy thing that just me would like. I was just recording myself and putting it up there. I got 11,000 subscribers that tune in daily now for anything I'm publishing. I get comments from all over the world.
Yeah.
Because even with something as niche as Bible plus technology, it got people all over the world interested in exactly that. And they don't care whether you're from the Caribbean, St. Martin, live in Dallas, they don't care. If you're talking about what I want to hear about, I'm going to tune in.
That's the key, definitely, yeah. Let me ask you, in terms of bandwidth and speed, is Japan still the leader in the world when it comes to that, from your knowledge?
I haven't checked the stats lately, but Japan probably isn't the leader. But somewhere in Asia, so Singapore, Fiji, Singapore in particular, I remember was phenomenally good. One of those Asian countries is probably the leader. It wouldn't surprise me if the Middle East, so Dubai, the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Abu Dhabi, wouldn't surprise me if they are exceptionally good. They have a region, a business region there called Internet Village or Internet Center or something like that. Every big company, Microsoft, Google, Facebook, all of them, our office is there as well, right in the middle of it. They all go and set up companies there because the bandwidth is so fast.
You would think that America will have it, but this...
America has it in pockets. So if you're in a big city, like at home, I get 10 gigabit up and down fiber right at my house. But I live in Dallas. I live in a big city. If I live in if I live in Mesquite, suddenly the speeds is very similar to St. Martin. So it is very spotty throughout the U.S. Other smaller places, and U.S. is broad, it's spread out. Other smaller places like Singapore, like Dubai, etc., which is very concentrated and small, they really went out of their way to make sure everywhere you go,
and that's important,
you can get, and that's very important. But do you see the trick there? That's an advantage for St. Martin. St. Martin is very, very small. It would take nothing for a company to come here and blanket this island with fiber all over the place, or super high-speed wireless, just as a test. Just to see, hey, we got this new technology to get a Wi-Fi really fast. We want to test it in one whole country. We don't just give St. Martin, like there's places they do that. They'll say we're going to test it on a small region. Oh, that's very small. We could put up 10 antennas there and just cover the whole thing. We're going to do it.
Because they have a 5G, you think?
That's another example where being a small island actually has an advantage. To do that in the U.S. costs billions of dollars. To do that in St. Martin, to do that in Singapore, to do that in Fiji, it's a fraction. A Microsoft would do that just to check their product. A Siemens would do that just to test out their newest 6G antennas. There's no such thing as 6G, but whatever the new thing is, they would test it and say, oh yeah, what, cover St. Martin with it, and we'll just get data on how it's going. It drops when you go around the hill. It drops when you're behind this type of hill, so you need to put an extra antenna. And they're gonna take all of that and they're gonna make trillions of dollars off of it. Right. So there's advantages to being small also.
So, Mr. Richardson, when you go to different places and you speak with different people all over, what is the most common question you get from people?
What's your accent? Where are you from? And this is going to sound bad, but don't take it bad. It's not out of shame. I intentionally try to hide my accent, because I'm trying to avoid I didn't understand what you say, repeat it, where you from kind of a thing. I want to just because I'm usually there for work, I want to get to business. But inevitably, as I speak more and as I, get passionate about what I'm talking about, they catch it, and I always get that. Where are you from exactly? You're not American, right? You're not. No, I'm from St. Martin.
You ever had people that were a little doubtful in the beginning until you open your mouth and start to speak about what you
Probably still to this day, probably on a weekly basis.
Really?
I probably have 5 meetings a week. Just about every day of the week I have a meeting. Probably one out of those 5 meetings, I walk in the room and I walk in with the title, I walk in with the suit, like everything. But the world is still such a place that people still judge you from the outside. So I tell a story once. I got thrown out of a hotel, dressed in my suit and everything, because
Wow.
they said the hotel lobby. I was there sitting down working on my laptop,
Yeah.
and I had a coffee there. And they said the hotel lobby is for guests only. I said, wait, I'm like, no. We said the hotel lobby is for guests only, and they threw me out of the hotel. I had to call the hotel, call the lobby from outside the hotel, and say, could you? I didn't have my room key on me. I said, could you confirm that I'm a guest? Yeah. Can I come to the front desk? Yes. And I went in and I filed a report, and Marriott still apologizing to me for that.
Wow.
So people still globally, north, south, west, everywhere, they sometimes still judge you by what you look at. Use that as an opportunity as well. I tend to like to go in, set the bar low, and then they step, oh my God, this guy over-delivered. You know, I expected him to, have a mediocre book, but this book is really useful. I expected him to be a mediocre technician, but this guy is really, really, really good. So again, that's an advantage of being small and keeping it small and not being braggadocious.
But I think people admire what you're doing, because I got a release from the government and we posted it on our Facebook page. Thousands of people looked at it. Thousands. That's very unusual. Very, very unusual.
I didn't even realize that, but
I'll show it to you when many.
I think there's an opportunity here in St. Martin, and I do think the population, put aside maybe the government too, possibly, but I can't speak for that, but I do believe the population is at a point to where they want the next. They want what's their next opportunity. How can I feed my family just a little bit better? How can I afford just a couple of nicer things?
Yeah.
How can I work just a little bit, not kill myself as much,
little less, right?
Or a little less, but still do very, very, very good and be able to live a certain life-work balance that's more rewarding. And again, I'm picking on the previous generations, but a lot of the previous generations, including the ones I come from, all they knew is work. I would rather, if I could balance it a little bit more and be able to spend just a smidge more time with my 17-year-old daughter, so that it doesn't just fly by. And she was in my in my arms, and now she's driving a car, and now she's gone about her business, and I see her once a year for Christmas. Let me actually cherish those years, and that's a mistake I feel I made with some of my older kids, where I feel like I missed a lot of that, and I try to.
We all go through that.
Exactly. I try to make up for it now, but I'm trying to be more intentional and paying attention to, even with my older kids. I got to make sure that I block off the time
Just
to
to
be
spend,
able to spend with the people we love and the things we love. It can't all be about the dollar. So if AI can help me trim my time a little bit so I can continue to grow in my profits and feed my family while having a little extra time to spend with God. Just take a Saturday, and I ain't doing nothing today. I just started this thing with the entire company, my department, everybody I work with, everything. We now have a 4-day weekend. So our weekend starts on Friday. All that means is Monday through Thursday, we're working a little bit harder. But come Friday, we crash, we relax, no phones, no email, no text, no SMSs. Chill out and take a break and spend it do something you want to do. Whether that is go to church, whether it's go sleep, whether it's whatever it is, do something that is of value to you personally, so that life doesn't just blow you by.
So this trip that you make now in St. Martin, you're going to make some speeches, give some classes, speak to Parliament of St. Martin. Anything else?
Yes, also speaking to a couple of government-owned companies, literally with the CEOs, and they've requested it. It wasn't me pitching something to them. They were like, we know Blackberry was here. We want to talk to you all. We have some needs. Speaking to a couple specific ministries about some projects they're working on with human trafficking and stuff like that, and minimizing crime, and what can we do to help, put some technology in place to minimize crime. So there's a lot of really practical things I'm looking forward to being able to help. Yep. So there's lots of things I can help with there. There were opportunities where I felt I could have helped some, and I'm not going to call the name, but I could have helped
we know.
some of the local companies a bit more. I never got asked. But those are the kind of things where I hope when the need is there, somebody picks up the phone. Like now, credit to somebody who I actually went to school with. That she was older than me. She was in class with my sister, Tallulah Bailey. She reached out to me months ago and said, Greg, I heard you do AI. We're doing a conference for the schools about AI. Could you come? I would never jump on a plane so fast in my life. I said, absolutely, I'm coming. You ain't buying my plane ticket. I'm coming. I'm glad to help. Why? Because you picked up the phone and you called and you said, hey, Greg, we haven't spoken in 20, 30 years. Can you help? This is my island.
And you agree, I'm not going to mention the name, but I was in the room with a meeting with you on the phone, and it's amazing how articulate, how clear, how you were very helpful, even though the deal wasn't made yet, and you don't get that from people in this area. So you're an amazing guy in that regard. So I know anyone who gets in touch with you will see that same thing in you as a person.
I work hard to, again, like I said, over-deliver.
Yeah.
So I want to promise a little bit and give you 10 times more than what I promise. Like you just said, even if the deal ain't made yet, I want to demonstrate to you that, holy cow, this guy already providing value, it's going to be worth even more of that.
Exactly.
That's my aim. Yeah. That way everybody's happy. Everybody wants you back. That's you build a good reputation. That is what life is about. I don't getting a little bit of money and then have to hide from 12 people for the rest of my life. That doesn't sound like fun to me. I'm getting too old for that nonsense. I rather you be happy, and the next time you find me is, Greg, you did a great job. We need you to come do a little bit more work, or could you recommend somebody to do some work? That's a happier way to live.
There's something I've learned over the years interviewing people and I see in people, and that is what you have, and that is one word: passion. Passion is incredible. When you have passion for what you're doing, and I can see it in you, the world is, no one can stop you.
Yeah, world is your oyster, and again, I'm going to credit God for that. I've told many people, I believe God stitched it in my DNA. And I'm going to real Bible with you now. Jeremiah chapter 1, I think it's verse 6, said God speaking to Jeremiah, and God tells Jeremiah, I know the plans I have for you, and I've called you to go out and do this thing to the nations. Before you were in your mother's womb, I knew the plans I had for you. That's what Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 6 or 4 or 5, somewhere around there says. And I feel like before I was in my mother's womb, God stitched it in my DNA. Right. You're going to be passionate about technology. So that's why now you want to talk about technology, AI, cybersecurity. Yeah, you're going to feel it come out to me with passion because I'm built for that. I love doing it. You can wake me up 3 o'clock in the morning, Greg, jump on a plane. You got to go here. Great, no problem. I have a video I just posted. I think it's on Instagram or something, where I showed literally 2:45 in the morning. I'm walking out of my house. It's pitch black outside. I walk into the car, tell the guy, the driver, hey, good morning. And he's accustomed to pick me up at 2 in the morning. And you see me that day, I leave at 2:45 in the morning and I'm back at my house midnight the same night. And I flew and I jumped on a plane. I think I went to Chicago or something like that. And I kept my phone with me. I have pictures of, I did a radio interview. I did a newspaper interview. I went to this company, look at the building there. And I wasn't tired.
You got like the Trump energy, man.
Right. I wasn't tired. Why? Because I'm passionate about it, because I feel I was made for this. It's not a job. I loved it. I love when they called me and said, Greg, something break. We got to go and fix this thing. Where? Let's go. I'm ready. Come on. Love it. So you find what your niche is and lean into it, and everything else tends to start to fall in place.
Well, I really want to thank you for coming in. I want to show you a book again, 6 Levels of Technology. It's a great book. You can get it on Amazon.
Yep.
And it's digital, or they have to send it?
It's Audible, digital, Kindle, paperback, hardcover. If you see me while I'm on the island or check my father or them, I have a bunch of the books here as well. You can get it from them directly too. But it is 100% on Amazon, yes.
Good. So I want to, again, thank you for coming and wish you and your family much success. And I hope you continue to come back to share your knowledge in St. Martin, and at the same time that you're rewarded financially for it, because we bring people from all over the world to do things. We need to use our own experts, and I think you qualify there.
Thank you. I
All right.
appreciate that very much, Mr. Gibbs.
Thank you.
Always an honor. Keep doing what you're doing. As I said when I saw you, my God, you don't age. You look exactly the same thing like 20 years ago.
Thanks. Great. Thanks again. All right. All the best. And that's it for now here on Speaking of Everything. I'm Earl Gibbs with Mr. Gregory Richardson. Mr. Gregory Richardson is the Vice President at Blackberry, author of 6 Technology Levers, and it's a pleasure to have him on the show with us here on YouTube, Facebook, and on Hot 99.9 FM radio. See you next time. Take care. Bye.